When the world is unsteady, the ground beneath me shaking, I keep asking people questions, but nobody seems to know. Well, I can move steady when the wind blows. The rhythm's strong inside me. Hold myself tightly when the heat goes. Raise the blinds covering the windows. I'm coming out of the dark.
Okay, I finally had a quiet time to talk. It's late. I was hoping to talk to you guys a bit sooner, but it's been non-stop action here. It's a mustelid's paradise here. It's a beautiful hide in the north of the Netherlands, just on the Den-Friesland border. About 10 kilometers away from Stanwijk. And so far we've seen polecats, we've seen Pine Martens, which I was hoping why I came out here in the first place, and we saw one beautiful stone marten. Also had two different hedgehogs just coming here. It's a fantastic job here. The way they've laid it out, they've got a sort of like an infinity pond in front of you, so you get some nice reflection, and then some tree logs, and they've all got hollows where he'll leave dead birds in the tree over here where the polecat came. And there's only one way in and one way out. Same for up the top where the Pine Martens come from near the back. They've also leave eggs in there in one of the trunks. And then they've got laid some peanut butter up on these perches, so you get some really nice angles of them. So that's really nice here. And even like the logs here have got tunnels for the rats and stuff like that. See, he's been gradually feeding them over the years, and different Pine Martens and Stone Martens come each year. They gradually get used to it. Again, it is for treats and food, but this is my little treat as well. This is my Disneyland to come somewhere like this. It's a beautiful little spot. It's got heating, it's got water, it's got coffee, kettles, free drinks, you know, everything you need. And they've all these cameras are on these beautiful gimbal heads on this slider across here. So again, with this beautiful view, it's quite a dream hide really, to spend the night. It's the first time I've done like a nocturnal night hide, and it's lit up with I think he said 5 different lights, so it really gives you a unique perspective into these animals' lives, which I'm enjoying so far. Pine Marten was why I mainly come out here, but I was eager to see the polecat as well. A polecat's so quick, you know, in out into these logs, and you don't get your focus. That's it. Tough titties. A lot smaller than I thought because they've got quite a robust face, you know, quite chunky looking. I always pitched them to be quite bigger. A stone marten, obviously a lot stockier. Beautiful little front of his face. It's just to die for. I'm not going to say the C word and say it's cute, but it was pretty cute.
Second chances, stealing glances, I did it wrong. Shouting matches, we've been through some real rough patches. I know that it's true. But there's still more left to do. 'Cause I feel a change coming, like a clean rain pouring down on me. All these phases.
The European polecat is slightly bigger than a weasel, not as big as an otter or a pine marten or anything like that. It's a direct descendant of the ferret. We bred the ferret to then hunt rabbits and stuff like that. It was almost wiped out in Britain due to gamekeepers and stuff like that, thinking they're eating all their game birds. But now slowly coming back in Britain, a lot more common here in the Netherlands, but slowly coming back, and farmers are less persecuting them now because they actually think they keep control of their rabbit numbers, which they obviously see as vermin now. So hopefully they'll carry on coming back across Britain as well, because they're lovely little charismatic animals. And obviously both sexes leave, like most mustelid, have a musty smell, but they'll actually leave like a yellowy, oily residue that they'll leave on branches and sticks and stuff like that to mark their territory, both male and female. And also it's like a last defense mechanism as well. If it was being attacked, it would spray that to say, look how disgusting I am, don't eat me. While breeding as well, it looks a bit violent. The male will grab hold of the scruff of the neck of the female and start shaking it around. And they've actually discovered that that actually encourages the female to then produce eggs in her ovary. And then in that next 2 hours, the male will mate with the female quite numerous times to ensure that it fertilizes the eggs. So yeah, it looks a bit violent, but in nature it's serving a purpose, I suppose. And then the females will go on and have up to about 10 in a litter, and they'll obviously be born blind and furless as well, like most mustelids. For the first month, solely dependent on the female rearing them, and then after another month of playing with their siblings and learning how to hunt that way, they'll then come independent. But in the past, like all these mustelid families, fur was a big trade. Same with Pine Martens, the same with Snow Martens, same with badgers. Unfortunately for all of these, its fur was very valuable back in the day. The male polecat is about 1.5 times bigger than the females as well. So you may not be able to identify them if you just saw one, but if you see them both together, you can easily see normally which one's the male and which one's the female. The Pine Marten adapted for hunting on the treetops and the canopy, crawling down branches, as well as going into burrows and small holes. Basically nowhere safe. Grey squirrel's not safe anywhere whenever a Pine Marten around. Like most of these mustelids, they are omnivores, so they have a diet of carnivorous meat and stuff like that, as well as vegetation and berries and nuts, depending on the season and depending on what they can get hold of. Dens and breeding nests are normally like in the hollowed out trees or old bird nests, or even sometimes boxes that have been left out there, repurpose them. I'd love to see some of these Pine Martens climb a bit more, show off those retractable claws. Like the only mustelid that actually has these claws are the Pine Martens. And that makes them perfect woodland apex predators, because they not only can climb trees, and that's why they get that other name as well of tree cat, and they can hunt squirrels and stuff like that up in the canopy. Great for on the ground as well, for scavenging for rats or any other kind of eggs and stuff that you find in the shrubs, so it's perfectly adapted for that. In the UK they got a bad stick as well, because they think they hunt the already reducing numbers of red squirrels in the UK, but it's a double-edged sword, this, because the grey squirrels are bigger and slower, but sometimes stronger. The Pine Marten is eating a lot of these grey squirrels, so in some ways they think it may be helping the red squirrel numbers to increase, and that's probably the case in Scotland. And it makes sense because they're both native species, and then when you have two native species you have that balanced ecosystem, where if one starts to decline too much, let's say one year there's a bad red squirrel numbers, then the polecats then don't have enough food, so then they decline. These ones are quite young. I think these are the first year ones, the Pine Martens here. I think there's 2 of them, brother and a sister. I know that because you can, when they go into the log, you see the testicles on one and then not one on the other, and they're quite young in the face, whereas I think they'll get a bit taller and bulk out a bit more. The Stone Martens are a bit different. They obviously have different names. I keep switching. I normally call them Stone Martens, but I think their technical name is the Beech Marten. And they have that white chest, and they've got a bit more triangular kind of face with their eyes. I don't know. Once you see them, I'll put video up on each and label it now, and once you see them you can tell the difference. You don't really know it, so there's a lot of people get confused. Obviously the Stone Martens, well, the nose is like a paley grey colour and much pinkish as well, whereas the Pine Martens is a darker nose. They seem a little bit taller and slender in the face, and they act slightly different, whereas a Stone Marten is more like a polecat, almost low hunkered, weaves in and out the ground, whereas the Pine Marten's always like hopping up, looking over, you know, very energetic like that way. They sort of move in different ways. Yeah, more of a weasel kind of thing, always hopping up on its back legs and looking up, see what, like a mongoose. The Stone Marten, when it comes in, I don't see it beforehand. It normally, you know, skulks in and creeps in. Whereas the Pine Marten I see before, because you just see its little pop up and you're like, oh, what was that? And then it does again, and you're like, oh, it's a Pine Marten, you get ready. So they are, you know, act in different ways as well. So not only do they differ from looks, they do sort of have their own way. And I think if they do share the same habitat, I think here's a special case, because they're being fed here as well. But they would normally, when two apex predators are competing for the same habitat and the same food, they'll diverse their diet in different ways, and I think that's the case for the Stone Marten and the Pine Marten, whereas the Pine Marten will more specialise in like birds and, you know, eggs and stuff like rats and carnivorous, and then normally the Stone Marten will then choose more of the fruit and nut path, maybe small rodents as well. You know, they're not fussy. They'll, in normal cases, it obviously differs day to day. It's not going to be turning down a juicy rat. Stone Martens as well get a bad rep because they're known to damage cars and get into the side of the engines and chew on the cables. They think it's down to, like, apparently because Japanese car companies or whatever started putting fish oil in their cables and stuff, so maybe the young ones start doing that to chew on it. But yeah, so they are known to get into your engine block and start chewing away at cables, and Stone Martens are more likely to hence why they're called house martens as well. They're more likely to nest in people's houses, more urban 5. In fact, talking of that, I think I can't remember, but it's a Stone Marten that shut down the Large Hadron Collider. I can't remember back when it first, early years of it being on, I think two house martens got in and actually shut down the, you know, the biggest science experiment that the planet has ever put on. So yeah, they can be a bit of a pain, so I suppose they deserve a bit of that bad rep. It's coming up to about 5:30 now. I've got to pack up and leave in the next half an hour. Very tired, but it's been fantastic. Today there was even more than yesterday, real action packed. And just before I press record, the Stone Marten came back quite a lot, picking up all the scraps of dog food. I think he said he leaves dog food out once all the chicken and stuff's gone. But I really enjoyed today. I highly recommend this place if you want to see these animals with a unique perspective at night time. Definitely check this place out. Again, I'll leave it in the description below. My brain doesn't work, so I'm going to stop talking soon. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the shots are okay and not too noisy, and hopefully more of these to come. So in the meantime, peace, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Coffee at midnight. No, it's just your eyes. Sit in the silence, taking the quiet. Can I pull you down? Lay here, just shout out whatever they say. baby, just for today. Flashback, his hand on my neck, brown eyes, my guy, my love. Mistakes, heartbreak, we say you can't take this love from us. Now it's getting serious, talking about the real stuff. I don't know what to do, can't live this life without you. Can we just slow down, stop trying to figure it out? I don't know what to do, I'm still crazy about you. Flashback, his hand on my neck, brown eyes, my guy, my love. Mistakes, heartbreak, we say you can't take this love from us. In your car, and I wonder where we are. Why did we come this far just to give up? You were everything I needed, now I'm struggling with where I did. Have to fight for your life. Now we're sitting in your car, and I wonder where we are. Why did we come this far just to give up? You were everything I needed, now I'm struggling with where I did. We have to fight in love. Flashback, my head on his chest, he's wearing that shirt I love. Regret that day when we said you can't take this love from us.